Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about why you should have or start a home lab. Home labbing is very fun to me and I got into it a couple years ago now, around halfway slash three quarters of the way throughout college. It's a really cool activity, and I think if you're starting out in tech or even if you're already in it, you should definitely start one. It's amazing and you can really learn a lot. The reason why I'm so excited about this is it's how I learned a lot of what I know, and honestly, without me screwing around late at night, excuse me, with the home lab, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I think it's just something everyone should take the opportunity on, especially if it's since it's mostly free. If you really pinch your pennies, they say, you can almost make a home lab for free with just about anything. But kind of want to talk about why you should home lab. Number one, like I kind of said already, you can just learn so much. Home labbing, especially for example, let's kind of put this into perspective here. A lot of times, or especially what I did with home labbing, shameless plug right here. There's my little setup, right? A lot of times with home labbing, especially like me, I took some old hardware that a friend of a family didn't want anymore, and they were just going to throw it away. And I'm like, I'll take it. It can be the start of my home lab, and that's kind of how I got started. Essentially, if you take old hardware, and a lot of times what you can do is wipe the main OS off, such as Windows or Linux, and you can put a new like Linux or whatever. Even if you want to do Windows Server, you can put that on there, and you can start off with building out like a home server. I guess you could say that's what I did, and you'll learn a lot by doing that. For starters, just doing the Linux install. If it's really old hardware, I mean, Linux usually works pretty good, but if it's something obscure, that wasn't produced widely and there's not a lot of drivers, you'll have to learn. You can learn by fixing those drivers and doing that on Linux. That's a fantastic way to learn, and that'll come up especially if you're getting started in IT. Excuse me. A lot of times there'll be people with drivers issues at the help desk, right? And you'll be like, oh yeah, I remember this time I did this, this, and this. I mean, it's not going to be exactly the same, right? But you'll learn, and that's the key. I think that's what you can get out of a home lab, not just the really technical server things, but also the setting up. But yeah, essentially, from setting up, the server initially, right? And then you'll get the first, not the server, sorry, the OS, I should say, and then getting the actual, the server, whatever you want to use on there, like Apache or Nginx. I think I probably butchered that, but once you get that set up, there's so many things, that could go wrong or you have to do, and if you set it up yourself and, follow the documentation and don't just, automate it, you'll really learn a lot, and you'll learn the ins and outs of, web servers and how it works, and kind of you'll start to connect the dots and see the pieces and how servers and the internet sort of works. I'm not saying you're going to learn how the whole internet works, but just the learning, like I've kind of said, is just so immense, and you'll kind of start to see how you can kind of form use cases in your home lab for certain things. Like for example, I have a network monitoring system, a media server. I have a notification thing that scans the network, does a bunch of things, and sends me a summary, and it's just so nice to not have to go individually and check on things. And I automated it using right here the little home server I have, and that was repurposed. That was used to be an old Windows 8 PC, but now it's my home server. But just it's really, I'm gonna say it again, it's about the learning. You learn so much, and a lot of people like to use Docker images in a home lab, which is fine. Nothing against that. It's really easy to deploy, can be done very quick, but I highly suggest that you start, from the bare metal and work your way up, because you'll learn so much more, rather than just putting a Docker image out. I know there's some configuration that's needed, and having it work, but, you'll learn a lot more. And, I guess kind of leading into the next part, it's just fun. Once you get into it, like me, you can't really, it's like an addiction. You almost can't get out of it. You just want to add more. I know. I started off with just this one server, but now I have another server that runs a password manager, and then kind of does a firewall thing. It's just a lab firewall, not meant to be a full network one. It's just something to test. I have it on a VLAN, and I have a switch too, a mini one, not a huge, 48 port switch. But you'll kind of start to build out, a little lab network, and some things that I did is I made a network diagram of it, made a write-up about my home lab and showcasing what I learned, and kind of wrapping this all up into one thing. This will really look good to employers, and it'll show that you're dedicated, you're committed, you want to maintain it, right? Which is good, because you have to maintain IT infrastructure if you work in IT in some way, right? And it shows you're passionate. If you're just the kind of person that goes into work 9 to 5, then leaves and forgets everything, you won't make it far if you want to. If you want to just do 9 to 5, that's fine. I'm trying to, be mean or anything, but it'll really help you get started and get your foot in the door, is what I'm trying to say. Um, and over time as well, it'll be really fun when, let's say your ISP goes down and you have like an automated service that runs, and that goes down with it, doesn't come back up. You'll spend some time, I know it's going to suck, but you'll spend time troubleshooting and getting it to work again, and it'll just be a lot of fun. I mean, I like troubleshooting, and that's fun to me. Also, too, you'll learn, like, the dangers of, like, just doing huge updates. I did that a couple years ago. I did a package update, and it, wiped out the, the network monitoring system I have on my little home server over there. So you'll just learn a bunch of little things, and it's a lot of fun, and it really shows your knowledge. And there's honestly no way to do it wrong. I mean, people are gonna say, yeah, there is, but do whatever you want. You could have a home lab that just, you can log into it and it plays tic-tac-toe with you. But yeah, essentially that's really all I want to talk about today. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.